Has Gamefreak been holding back when it comes to Pokemon Sword and Shield? Welcome everyone, this is AndresRestart. Oh, I don't know, Charmander, maybe because I wear clean clothes? Well yes, we do have a new shirt. Check it out. Here is the site, AndresRestart.square.site. The link is in the description below. It's our new merch. I think it looks pretty cool, so please check it out. But without further delay, let's get started with the video. I found it really weird that when we first saw Pokemon Sword and Shield, what they showed with that first trailer didn't really show that much, and because of that, Game Freak and Pokemon received a fair bit of criticism. There wasn't as much hype for Pokemon Sword and Shield as there could have been. Yet months later, a week before E3, they revealed the wild area, which was an open world-ish environment with roaming Pokemon and a controllable camera. Things that fans have been wanting for a very long time. Things that people like myself were expecting and were surprised to not see it with the first trailer, but it was still there. Game Freak intentionally withheld that information and constructed the trailer in a way to not show that off. They literally showed areas that had no Pokemon in them, yet we know in the final game, in those areas, there will be roaming Pokemon. It was weird. Game Freak was holding back. Another example of this is when we saw Dynamax Pokemon. While I kinda liked it, there was still a fair bit of criticism for that as well. A lot of people felt like it wasn't really that unique of a thing, it was basically just scaled up Pokemon. And what Game Freak held back at the time was that there would also be Gigantamax Pokemon, which is an even better version of Dynamax, which actually offers a unique form beyond just being bigger for some Pokemon, with additional abilities as well. Game Freak held back on that. And of course, Sword and Shield has been the subject of more criticism than any previous Pokemon game because of the national dex being cut from the game and the news that it may not be in any other game moving forward. A lot of fans have been really upset about that. And one big reason for that is because since X and Y, there's been this growing narrative that Game Freak has been cutting content from the games, not really putting too much in there, and they're sort of just forcing games to come out every single year. So keeping this in mind, when you pair that along with the fact that now there will be no national dex and they're cutting Pokemon, a lot of fans were outraged. Yet with the news we got from Gameinformer yesterday, I think that would have changed the narrative a little bit. I think some people would not have been so upset because, yes, while it is upsetting that not all the Pokemon will be in the game, if we knew that we were going to be getting even more content because of it, the criticisms that Sword and Shield and Game Freak and Pokemon have been facing wouldn't have been so great. So what am I getting at here? We got a flurry of news yesterday from Gameinformer. We got it confirmed that autosaves will be in the game, but we already kinda knew that. It was confirmed that HMs will not be in the game, something a lot of us already assumed would be the case. But they also revealed that EXP share will be an automatic thing as opposed to an item. It has not been clarified whether you can turn it on or off yet. But one big feature that was revealed yesterday is that in this game, Game Freak is designing the games so that even with your playthrough team, you will be able to make that team competitively viable. They implied that you could even perhaps change the nature. Hasn't been confirmed yet, but basically it was implied that you will be able to take your playthrough team and find a way to make them competitively viable, which has not really been possible in previous Pokemon games. And then there was the big one. There are going to be 18 gyms in Pokemon Sword and Shield. These 18 gyms will be divvied up between the minor and major leagues, and it was clarified that the exclusivity of the fighting and ghost type gym, that would be affecting which one you face in the major league, implying that you will be able to face the other one in the minor league for the different game. It should also be noted that it has not been clarified if all 18 gyms will be battleable, but from what I've read, from what I've seen, that seems to probably be the case. 18 gyms is more than 2 times as many gyms than any other amount of gyms we've seen in any previous Pokemon game. That's quite a lot. And before we move forward, I want to read this part of an interview that came out of the Gameinformer interview with Masuda. Up until now, we've been proud we've been able to include so many Pokemon in the games, but as a result of that, there's actually been quite a few features or gameplay ideas that we've had to abandon in the past. Going forward, thinking about the future of Pokemon, we want to prioritize all those new gameplay ideas, new ways to enjoy the game, and want to challenge ourselves at Game Freak to create new ways to enjoy the game. That's really what drove the decision for this new direction. So, as I said earlier, one of the big reasons why Sword and Shield has been receiving so much criticism, it's not only that there will be no national decks and not all Pokemon will be available in the game, it's that on top of that, a lot of people were feeling that there wouldn't be that much content in the games to begin with, because if you look at all the previous Pokemon games, there hasn't been that much to the post-game. There have been a lot of features introduced in previous games that have not made a return in future games. So a lot of the criticism has been that not only is Gamefreak cutting out Pokemon, but they're cutting out features as well. So with the news that not all Pokemon would be in Sword and Shield, a lot of fans were very upset because they were thinking, oh great, so now not only are we getting a short game with not that many features, but we're also not getting that many Pokemon. But with this news, Masuda is clearly stating that having so many Pokemon in the games has been an issue for quite some time, and in order to make sure that they can employ a lot of the gameplay ideas and features that they've wanted to in the past, they're prioritizing that aspect of the game, so because of that, they can't offer up as many resources to getting every single Pokemon in the game. And by the way, we also learned that there will be about 1,000 people involved with the development of Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, most of that has to do with localization, but still, it's been stated that the development team has effectively been doubled since the development of Sun and Moon, and we're looking at about 180 to 200 people actually developing Pokemon Sword and Shield. So the team has grown significantly over the last few years, and there's a lot of people involved with this game. I think it's important to note, because a lot of people have been saying that Game Freak should just hire more people, get more people involved, to make sure every single Pokemon could be in this game. Maybe they could have gotten more people involved, but I would say that that is quite a substantial increase from a few years ago. But either way, Pokemon Company and Game Freak have been very aware of the situation going on with Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yet despite all the criticisms, they were not quick to reveal more information to combat some of the critiques that these games have been receiving. Yet now I feel like with more information that we're getting about the games, some of the arguments that have been against Sword and Shield don't hold as much weight, because clearly there is going to be a lot more content than Sword and Shield in previous Pokemon games. 18 gyms sounds amazing. Not only that, we're also hearing about a lot of other nice features. As I stated already, they are trying to find a way to make your playthrough team competitively viable if you so choose to do that. And another thing I did not mention yet, we also heard that some of the raid battles will be very challenging. There are actual members on the development team who are experienced with Pokemon battles who sometimes lose to the toughest levels of raid battles. And just for those who don't like difficulty, these raid battles are optional, the hard ones, so don't worry. But really, the point I want to get to here is that Game Freak has been holding back a lot. We're just a month and a half away from the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we still don't know about the middle stage evolutions for the starters. And if you check the Pokemon website, there are only 25 new Pokemon and forms combined. That isn't that many. Normally we'll see about 100 when you factor in both new species and forms for a new Pokemon game, and we're just about 6 weeks away. Honestly, with all the negativity surrounding Sword and Shield, even though I was initially very excited, I was starting to grow concerned that there wouldn't be that much content in Sword and Shield and they just wouldn't be that big of a game. But with the recent news from Gameinformer and that interview with Masuda where he clearly states that they are focusing on having more gameplay and features, I now feel confident in saying that Game Freak is intentionally holding back. They're not withholding information because there isn't that much to show off, it's actually the opposite. It's looking like they are holding back information because they don't want to spoil us until the games come out. Which actually has me even more excited because previously, when there wasn't as much to show off with the Pokemon games, they pretty much showed almost everything by the time the games would actually come out. This time around, it's looking like it's going to be the opposite. So I find myself pretty darn optimistic about Pokemon Sword and Shield. These games are looking to still be pretty big, despite all the controversy, despite the criticisms. I'm looking forward to these games. But we won't really know how good or bad they will be until they come out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How do you feel about the recent news about there being 18 gyms, really tough raid battles, being able to make your playthrough team competitively viable? These are all really interesting features for me, but again, I'm curious what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. Anyways, everyone, this is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Oh, by the way, check the merch site. Shirts are hot. I'll see you later.